Hello and welcome back. If you watched my last video, uh, you saw that there's many different ways to get power from redstone. But why is that useful to us? Redstone can power many devices to automate processes that normally would require a lot of player intervention. The wooden door is an example of that. Everyone knows the wooden door. It's usually one of the first things you craft when you're building a house. Um, This wooden door is stuck in the open position because it is getting current from this torch through that wire. If I remove the torch, the door closes. Now, it is not picky about what supplied the power in the first place, only that it has the power. So we saw that wooden buttons provide a redstone current. That also opens the door for the roughly 1 second pulse that the button is on. You can also use pressure plates to achieve the same effect. Iron doors, some of you may know that iron doors more or less function like wooden doors, with the exception that iron doors can only be powered by redstone current. The wooden door I can always right-click on, but the iron door I cannot. So this iron door is stuck in the open position, similarly to the last one, with a block of redstone powering a wire. Destroying that, and the door closes. To further illustrate that it doesn't care what type of power it gets, I can use that lever or this tripwire. One block that I use a lot is the piston and the sticky piston, which are crafted as such. These two are on timers, they don't normally activate themselves. The piston and the sticky piston can extend themselves outward, pushing blocks, and the sticky piston has the unique property that it can pull them back. An example of that is here. On the left is a piston, on the middle is a piston, on the right is a sticky piston. If I power these, the piston and the sticky piston push their blocks on top of them upwards. However, this one has a limit of, I believe it can push 15 blocks, it might be 16. But because there is more than that in this tower, it is unable to push them at all. This is so you can't push a whole layer of the world out by one. If I turn the power off, you'll see that the piston pushed the block up and it stayed there, where the sticky piston had pushed it up and it pulled it back. The note block is crafted with some wooden planks and a bit of redstone dust. The note block can play one note that you can adjust by right-clicking on it every time it receives a redstone current. I don't do a lot, but with note blocks, but there are people that turn these into entire songs. So go watch their videos. I'm not an expert on that. I do know though that note blocks have different instruments based on what they are on top of. So it's kind of hard to hear over the click of a button, but it has a really quick click. Dirt plays more of a note that you would kind of expect. Glass provides a high click. Sand also provides a snare drum, and there's one more instrument even than that that sounds a bit like a bass guitar. So you can experiment with different instruments by trying different blocks under them, and the Minecraft wiki has a lot of good information about how that works. There's the trapdoor, which is crafted kind of like a sideways wooden door. The trapdoor can open and close in response to a redstone current, or to player intervention, whichever you prefer. There's the dispenser and the dropper, have very similar crafting recipes, plus or minus a bow. And they work very similarly with distinctions that will be covered in a later video. You'll see if I power this dispenser, it spits a block out, and it lands on that pressure plate, and this redstone lamp lights up, just to show you. The dropper works the same way. The dispenser is different, that it will shoot arrows as if they were shot from a bow instead of just dropping them out like a dropper would. But don't worry about that. They'll get their own videos later. There is the hopper, which is crafted with a chest and 5 iron ingots. Just take some dirt for a demonstration. I can throw dirt, and on top of a hopper, it will automatically be sucked up. I'll just throw them this way. So you'll see they're not sitting here. They are all being eaten up into this. The hopper is a unique piece in that there's a way for it to both provide and receive a redstone signal. In this case, hoppers can suck from a chest above it and put into a chest below it. You'll see this hopper looks like it's pointing into the ground. This one looks like it's pointing into the chest. Here. So if I throw a block into the top, it goes through the hopper and they eventually end up down here. But if I power the hopper, what's in there gets stuck there, it stops taking from above it, and it stops depositing below it. Even putting more on top of it will not cause it to drain until I turn off the power again. There's TNT. It's a very fun block to use. Everyone knows that you can light it by placing it near lava or hitting it with a flint and steel. It will also light in response to a redstone current. You'll see I just have a little simple circuit set up here. Just at the press of a button, it will light and act normally. The thing to be careful, though, is that whenever you're working with it, the TNT will easily take out redstone circuits, and it'll even take out redstone dust and repeaters that you may have laid out, even when it doesn't destroy the blocks that are holding them up. So it will do more damage to the circuit than it will to the blocks around it. So that's why you need to be very careful and liberally use obsidian. Just as a simpler example, you know TNT is affected by gravity once it's lit. So, oops, that was supposed to fall. So, yeah, to further illustrate my point that I was making earlier, you'll see it took out the sandstone, but it didn't take out this sandstone, but it still took out the circuitry that was on top of it. So that's why you need to be careful and use obsidian. There's a redstone lamp. That's a block I use a lot. It lights up in response to redstone, or having powered redstone near it, and it will not light up if it doesn't. It will also power blocks around it, and exactly why this row and this row of blocks are being powered, I will cover in a later video. It turns on and off quickly in response to having or not having current, and it can just be placed adjacent to power sources to be used as a light source. Finally, one last thing that you can power that most people don't realize you can power is water and lava. I placed the water and lava here, and they just run into a hole. The lava has a hole there, much like the water does here. If I press this button, nothing happens. But if I give it another hole to flow to, I can press this button, it forces it to update, and they will change in response to that. So you can have water or lava flood into a room in response to getting a signal from a player inside or something. It would be really good for a trap. So anyway, that's it for this video, things that you can power. Join me for the next one, and we will talk about alternate power sources.